The moment Shedeur Sanders' name gets dropped, Coach Mangini goes nuclear. He's not just talking, he's torching the Cleveland Browns front office like it's open season. Chris Broussard tries to keep it polite, but come on, this ain't fine dining, it's a street brawl. What Mangini just did wasn't a debate, it was a full-on demolition of the Browns' reputation, leaving their professional image in ashes before the cameras even cooled off.
We thought he was good value at 146. We have good process, okay? And if you'd have told me, let's see, we picked him on Saturday, right? Friday night driving home, y'all are going to pick Shedeur. I would say that's not happening. But we had a conversation early that morning, and then we had a conversation later that day. I think we had the right people involved in the conversation. At the end of the day, that's Andrew Berry's call. Andrew made the call to pick Shedeur, just like who's going to start or what play we're going to call is Kevin's call. But that's that.
If you're enjoying this wild ride, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It seriously helps more than you know. Coach Mangini didn't stroll into that studio. He stormed in, kicked the door clean off the hinges, and threw gasoline on the fire. While everyone else was whispering about whether Shedeur Sanders would even play this season, Mangini stood tall, flashlight in hand, exposing every crack in the Browns' front office like a detective who's done being nice. And let's be clear, he wasn't going after Shedeur. He made that crystal clear. The real issue, buried under layers of excuses and PR spin, is the Browns organization itself. Mangini's smirking truth bombs hit hard, painting the picture of a front office that runs like a group project where nobody actually does the work. It's chaos disguised as leadership. At this point, you'd think the Browns accidentally walked into the wrong NFL war room, straight out of a fantasy football sub. They're out here looking like a buddy cop duo from a parody movie. Big talk, zero results, and absolutely no clue how to solve the mess they created. It's wild, it's messy, and it's pure entertainment. They really tried to play it cool, acting like everything was perfectly under control. The Browns wanted everyone to believe that picking Shedeur 5th overall was all part of some genius strategy, like they were following a secret blueprint for success. Spoiler alert, it wasn't even close. Then in storms Mangini, no filter, no hesitation. While the rest of the analysts are sipping their tea and speaking in PR-safe tones, this man shows up with a can of gasoline and a box of matches, ready to burn down the entire narrative. He didn't scream, didn't rant, he just spoke with that dangerous calm, the kind that cuts deeper than yelling ever could. Mangini basically said what every real football mind has been dying to shout.
Both these kids.
Browns front office wouldn't recognize elite talent if it sacked their quarterback mid-press conference. It was savage, but it was true. And let's break down that 5th pick for a second, because apparently the Browns thought they were drafting for another sport. Shedeur Sanders was easily the most polished, composed, and game-ready quarterback in the entire draft class, yet they let 4 other names go before him like it was no big deal. That's not strategy. That's confusion dressed up as confidence. At this point, it's either intentional sabotage or the kind of group decision where everyone nods along and someone at the end goes, "Wait, what did we just do?" According to Mangini, that delay in drafting Shedeur wasn't about Shedeur at all. It was about the Browns trying to get fancy. They wanted to look like masterminds, like they were playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers, but instead, they ended up tripping over their own strategy. They outsmarted themselves right into an awkward mess so bad it could use a therapist and a strong bottle of bourbon. Meanwhile, Mangini's just sitting there, arms metaphorically crossed, watching this circus unfold like the one guy who actually got the invite to the real NFL. You can practically hear the thought running through his head. This ain't rocket science, fellas. The kid can play. Draft the kid. But no, instead of doing the obvious, Haslam and Berry went full PR mode. They started spinning tales and dropping buzzwords like confetti, talking about development, fit, and team culture, as if those magic words could fix bad decision-making. Please, the only culture Mangini sees is a culture of confusion and second-guessing. He basically hinted that the Browns' entire draft strategy looked like it was inspired by YouTube highlight reels and locker room vibes. Instead of trusting their eyes, they trusted their egos. And the result was a front office that looked more interested in controlling the story than getting it right. And here's the kicker. Mangini didn't even need to say Shedeur's name over and over to make his point. Because the real question he was asking was crystal clear. How do you not build your whole franchise around this kid the second you spot him? Shedeur's got everything: pocket presence, accuracy, leadership, vision, and that chip on his shoulder big enough to cast a Shedeur over Lake Erie. This isn't just talent, it's destiny in cleats. And the Browns, the Browns, looked at all that undeniable talent and said, "Hey, what?" Mangini didn't just call them out, he roasted them with surgical precision. It was the verbal equivalent of a headmaster catching students cheating off the wrong kids test. Brutal, but absolutely necessary. And let's be clear, he wasn't coming for Shedeur. Not at all. Mangini knew exactly what Andrew Berry was trying to do: dress up pure confusion and backroom chaos as some kind of strategic depth. It's comedy at this point, because the only depth Cleveland's got right now is the hole they've dug themselves into. And then there's Jimmy Haslam. Mangini didn't even have to say his name more than once. A couple of sharp, subtle jabs, and the message was loud and clear. He sees Haslam as that owner who treats an NFL team like it's a country club, loves to give speeches, shake hands, and talk about culture, but couldn't tell you what's actually happening on the field if his life depended on it. Mangini basically painted him as the type of guy who watches game film on mute, nodding like he understands a cover 2 defense while having no clue what he's even looking at. Savage. So while everyone else in the sports world was debating whether Shedeur Sanders should even touch the field this season, Mangini flipped the question completely.
Tell us why you didn't want him. If you're going to let inside information like this out to us, to the fans, to the rest of the NFL, tell us why it wouldn't happen. Because he's been busting everybody out since he's been there, and you won't give him any first-team reps. But tell us why you won't go pick him. Tell us why. We're dying to know. I know I have. We all know why, but I want to hear from you. Since you want to tell us this info.
He asked the one thing no one else had the guts to: does this franchise even deserve him? Because here's a kid who eats film for breakfast, breathes competition, and walks into every room like he's already done the homework twice. And the Browns, man, they're out here treating Shedeur Sanders like some side dish when he's clearly the main course. You can't make this up. Even if you tried to write it as a comedy, Mangini would shut it down in 5 seconds flat with that signature calm, cold delivery. That's not how professional organizations operate. Boom! Just like that. All those long-winded explanations about evaluations and long-term plans? Please, you don't draft a Shedeur Sanders to fit into your plan. You draft him because he is the plan. Period. And when Mangini dropped that line, you could almost feel the entire Browns front office freeze up, jaws clenched, eyes darting, because he wasn't yelling, wasn't ranting, wasn't emotional. He was just slicing through their excuses like a surgeon with receipts. He dismantled their logic piece by piece, like a man taking apart a toy he's too old to be impressed by. It was calm, cutting, and devastatingly honest. And that's what made it sting even more. The truth didn't come wrapped in anger, it came gift-wrapped with a bow. Sure, maybe Shedeur doesn't have to start right away, but that's not the point. Mangini made it clear, he absolutely could.
Has come out and basically said he didn't want Shedeur Sanders. He didn't want them to draft Shedeur Sanders. The GM wanted Shedeur Sanders and drafted Shedeur Sanders. And my thing is, okay, if you feel that way, why come out and say that right now when their young broil is fighting for a position and a spot on the team? How you think that makes him feel when he knows that the boss, the big boss of the Cleveland Browns, the owner of the team, didn't want him?
And the fact that this is even a debate says more about the Browns' dysfunction than it does about Shedeur's readiness. It's not a question of whether he's ready, it's whether Cleveland is. And judging by the nervous energy coming out of that front office, the endless spin talk, and the way Andrew Berry blinked like Morse code in that last interview, the answer's obvious. They're not. Meanwhile, Mangini's just sitting back, dropping truth bombs like clockwork, daring someone in that building to finally stop acting like they're solving a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. Just when you think the clown car that is the Browns front office couldn't possibly cram in one more bad decision, boom, they do it again. Now they're back to debating whether Shedeur Sanders should actually play. It's like watching the same sitcom rerun every Sunday. Chris Broussard, bless that man, gives this heartfelt, dramatic monologue about how special Shedeur is, how he's got that rare spark, and how he could become even greater down the road. And sure, he's right. But come on, it's like telling people that water's wet or that oxygen matters. Nobody's arguing about the kid's talent. The real issue isn't whether Shedeur Sanders can play, it's whether the folks in charge have the brain power and humility to act on that fact without tripping over their own egos. Because fans see it.
Now look, we don't have any proof, but what it seems like is all 32 NFL owners had a pact that they were not going to draft Shedeur Sanders. Now, I don't know about you, but this man right here doesn't look to be too excited. He doesn't look like a person who just made a decision all on his own, if you ask me. What he's trying to do is he's trying to do some damage control because he technically was not supposed to make that pick. And he's also trying to distance himself by having someone that's a scapegoat, i.e. GM Andrew Berry.
The players see it. Everyone outside that front office sees it. People have watched Shedeur carve up defenses with surgeon-level precision, laser throws, perfect timing, and the kind of composure that makes seasoned vets look like they just got called up from JV. He's got that rare calm, that unshakable, I've been here before vibe that money can't buy. Meanwhile, the Browns' so-called brain trust is stuck in their own universe, waiting for a sign from above, like a burning bush that throws spirals and calls audibles. The idea that anyone in Cleveland still views Shedeur as a developmental project is straight up comedy. He's not here to warm benches or collect clipboards. He's here to lead, to win, and to make every doubter look foolish in real time. He's not here to wait his turn. He's here to rewrite the script. But let's get real for a second and unpack why this is even a debate in the first place. Deep down, beneath all that polished PR talk and evaluation nonsense, what you really find is fear.
It wasn't his decision to pick up Shedeur, it was the GM's decision. Sir, why would you give us that information now? That doesn't even matter to us. As fans, we don't care at this point who picked them up. We do know that the GM, you saying that, but that GM didn't look happy on draft day. He didn't look like he wanted Shedeur. And he also said at the beginning of draft weekend, they had no intentions on having 4 quarterbacks. So something ain't adding up.
Pure, unmistakable fear. The Browns front office knows they fumbled the optics from the jump by not backing Shedeur Sanders fully from day one, and now they're scrambling to make it look like it's all part of some strategic patience plan. Please, this isn't strategy, it's straight up damage control. They're treating that quarterback room like a Jenga tower on its last leg, afraid that putting Shedeur in the lineup might make the whole thing collapse. But here's the truth, it's already collapsing. Shedeur isn't the problem. He's the reinforcement holding it together. This whole wait-and-see routine might make sense if you already had a Patrick Mahomes sitting comfortably under center. But let's keep it real. The Browns' current quarterback situation isn't a fortress. It's a pile of IKEA parts missing half the screws. And here comes Shedeur, walking in cool as ever, holding the missing wrench and the blueprint, ready to build something real. Yet they've got the nerve to tell him to hang tight. It's wild. And it's not even just about skill. It's about presence, leadership, that unspoken energy that commands respect the second he walks in a room. Shedeur's got that natural gravity. You feel it.
It's like pure BS. Like, why would an owner go to the media and say something like that 3 months after the draft? Like, if you don't want him on your team, why not just trade him and just let him go be happy? I'm pretty sure it's a team out there that probably wants him but couldn't get him in the draft. And y'all had 35 different starting quarterbacks and none of them was good. And you probably had something to do with it. So Shedeur Sanders not being your pick.
Meanwhile, this is the same Browns organization that treats decision-making like karaoke night. Everyone grabs the mic, nobody can sing, and somehow they all think they're killing it. It's chaos disguised as leadership, and Shedeur's the only one in the room who actually knows the song. So now the Browns are out here tiptoeing around the most obvious decision in football history, whether to start the guy who's already outshined every other option they've got. We're talking practices, scrimmages, workouts. Shedeur's been dominating across the board. He's sharper, faster, and more composed than anyone in that locker room, and somehow they're still pretending it's a tough call. Please. They're not being cautious, they're being scared. This front office is terrified of getting it wrong again, so instead of stepping up, they're playing it safe by getting it wrong on purpose. It's wild. Fans see right through it. They've watched this movie too many times. The slow motion disaster, the overthinking, the wasted potential. They know what talent looks like, and they know what it means when management starts throwing buzzwords around instead of just saying the obvious, start the guy. He gives them the best shot to win, period. He's got first-team energy, first-team leadership, and first-team results. But the Browns are acting like starting him would be some shocking leap of faith, when in reality the real gamble is not starting him at all. It's like refusing to eat a perfectly cooked steak because you want to see if the frozen chicken nugget you've been nursing all year finally turns into filet mignon. Make it make sense. The irony is painful. They've got a potential franchise savior sitting right there, ready to change everything, and they're still squinting at him like he's some kind of ancient prophecy they can't decode. Meanwhile, Mangini's over here lighting fireworks and waving the flag, basically shouting, "Play the kid!" But now, the Browns can't help themselves. They crave the chaos. They love turning every clear decision into a soap opera. Quarterback controversy? They'll invent one just for the drama. They're addicted to overthinking, straight up. And while Chris is out here trying his best to sprinkle a little optimism over this dumpster fire, deep down, he's got to know the truth.
You didn't have to pick him up. And there's so many other teams that actually needed a quarterback, so it really doesn't make sense that you all have Shedeur. So it's some funky stuff going on. I know y'all got the NFL has that lawsuit already about collusion. And we know you colluded against Shedeur. So this just ain't adding up. There's some weird stuff going on. It's like, who are you trying to convince that you didn't? I mean, what difference would it make? Why would you have to tell us that now? Why would you have to come out and say that?
This is a franchise that could turn gold into gravel if you give them too much rope. Every time they get close to greatness, they somehow find a way to trip over their own shoelaces. It's not just frustrating anymore, it's flat out laughable. Because Shedeur isn't out here begging for a chance or running some PR campaign. He's just doing what he does best, showing up, showing out, and letting his tape talk louder than any press conference ever could. Every throw, every snap, every calm stare screams readiness. The longer they keep him sidelined, the worse it looks. And not for Shedeur, but for them. Eventually, the noise is going to get too loud to ignore. Fans won't stay quiet forever, and the media's already circling like sharks. Everyone's asking the same question. Will he start? He should have already. Will he be the first team guy? Absolutely, if the Browns could get out of their own way. But no, they keep confusing hesitation for wisdom, like dragging their feet somehow makes them smarter. Meanwhile, the rest of the league's sitting back with popcorn, laughing and wondering how Cleveland keeps fumbling its own future. Because make no mistake, Shedeur didn't come here to wait in line, and fans didn't tune in to watch another slow-motion meltdown. This isn't patience. It's procrastination dressed up as professionalism. And if the Browns don't figure it out soon, they won't just be answering questions about playing time. They'll be explaining how they let a generational talent collect dust while the franchise once again tripped over its own Shedeur. If you made it this far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And I'll catch you in the next one. Because trust me, this story's far from over.